Discovery and deception. The Viridian ships appeared in Earth's orbit on a clear spring morning, their elongated hulls gleaming copper in the sunlight. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. First contact with an intelligent alien species. The world watched in awe as sleek shuttles descended to land on the White House lawn, the United Nations Plaza, and Beijing's Forbidden City simultaneously. Dr. Maya Chen stood among her colleagues at the Xenobiology Research Institute, watching the live broadcast with a mixture of professional curiosity and childlike wonder. As Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien biology, she had spent her career imagining what extraterrestrial life might look like. Now she wouldn't have to imagine anymore. "They're bipedal," she murmured, noting the tall, slender forms of the Viridians as they emerged from their shuttle. Their skin had a faint greenish tint that shimmered in the sunlight, and they moved with fluid grace, convergent evolution, perhaps. The Viridians spoke perfect English, Mandarin, and a dozen other Earth languages. They came bearing gifts: clean energy technology, advanced medical treatments, and the promise of interstellar travel. "We have watched your species with great interest," their ambassador, Zenith, told the United Nations Assembly. "Your creativity, your resilience, your capacity for growth, these are qualities we admire. We wish to welcome you to the galactic community." 3 months after first contact, Maya received an invitation that made her hands tremble with excitement. The Viridians had requested her specifically to join a research exchange program. She would be one of the first humans allowed to study Viridian biology directly. The Viridian Research Facility was a marvel of engineering, a sprawling complex built on the dark side of the moon in just weeks using their advanced technology. Maya's lab was spacious and equipped with instruments beyond her wildest dreams. "Your work on theoretical xenobiology was impressively accurate," her Viridian counterpart, Lyra, told her on the first day. "We are eager to see what you discover about us." Maya threw herself into her research, analyzing tissue samples, studying Viridian cellular structures, and mapping their genetic code. After 2 weeks of working 18-hour days, she sat back from her microscope, rubbing her tired eyes. Something wasn't adding up. The Viridians had described themselves as herbivores from a lush, forest world, but their teeth structure, digestive enzymes, and muscle composition told a different story. These were the adaptations of an apex predator. She double-checked her findings late one night when the lab was empty. The genetic markers were unmistakable. These beings had evolved to hunt, to kill, to consume meat. Why would they lie about something so fundamental? At the same time, across the lunar base, Commander Rowan Kapoor was having his own doubts. As the military liaison to the Viridian exchange program, he was responsible for the safety of the 100 human scientists and engineers on the base. Rowan had spent 15 years in Earth's Space Defense Force. He had sharp eyes and sharper instincts, and something about the Viridians set off alarm bells in his mind. They were too perfect, too accommodating. Their story too polished. He began keeping a private log of inconsistencies, the way the Viridians seemed to study humans as if cataloging them. The restricted areas of the base that grew larger each week. The communication blackouts that were always explained away as solar interference. The breaking point came when Rowan intercepted a partial transmission from a Viridian ship to their homeworld. His rudimentary understanding of their language was enough to pick out words that translated roughly to processing, shipment, and specimens. That same night, as Maya was walking back to her quarters, a door that was always locked stood slightly ajar. She glanced around, saw no one, and slipped inside. The room was dark except for screens displaying star maps. One map showed Earth and its colonies, small outposts on Mars, Europa, and Titan where a few thousand humans had settled. Next to each colony was a number, steadily decreasing. She was still staring at the screens when a hand clamped over her mouth. She struggled until a voice whispered in her ear, "Don't scream. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm Commander Kapoor, Earth Defense Force." The hand slowly released her. Maya turned to face a tall man with serious eyes and close-cropped black hair. "What is this place?" she whispered. "I was hoping you could tell me," he replied. "I've been tracking anomalies for weeks. Those numbers, they match the population counts from our colony worlds." "They're decreasing," Maya said. "Why would they be monitoring our colony populations? And why are they decreasing?" "I don't know," Rowan said grimly, "but I think we need to find out." They began meeting in secret, sharing information. Maya told him about the biological inconsistencies she'd discovered. Rowan shared his intercepted communications and observations of strange shipments arriving from the colonies. "We need more proof," Maya said during one of their clandestine meetings in a maintenance tunnel. "Something concrete we can take back to Earth." Rowan nodded. "There's a restricted section in the East Wing. I've seen Viridians entering with human colonists who look sedated. No one ever sees those colonists again." They planned their infiltration carefully. Using Maya's access card and Rowan's knowledge of the security systems, they slipped into the restricted zone during the lunar base's night cycle. The corridors were eerily silent as they moved deeper into unknown territory. "There," Rowan whispered, pointing to a heavy door marked with Viridian symbols. Maya consulted the translation app on her tablet. "It says, processing, just like in the transmission you intercepted." They exchanged a glance, then Rowan swiped the security card he cloned. The door slid open with a soft hiss. What they saw inside turned their blood to ice. Humans, dozens of them, suspended in transparent chambers. Some were awake, eyes wide with terror. Others appeared unconscious. Tubes and wires connected to their bodies, extracting blood, tissue samples, and other fluids. Along one wall, a line of empty chambers waited for new occupants. "They're farming us," Maya whispered, horror constricting her throat. "Taking biological materials." "Not just that," Rowan said, pointing to another door. "Look." Through a window in the door, they could see a larger chamber where humans worked in assembly lines, building components. Their movements were mechanical, eyes vacant. Some bore visible neural implants at the base of their skulls. "Slaves," Rowan growled. "They're turning us into slaves." A control panel near the window caught Maya's attention. She quickly began downloading data onto her tablet, hands shaking. "We need evidence. No one will believe us otherwise." Rowan stood guard, pulse rifle ready. "Hurry," he urged. "Security patrols pass by every 15 minutes." Maya's tablet chimed softly as the download completed. "Got it. Thousands of files, colony abduction records, processing protocols, slave conditioning procedures." She looked up, face pale. "They've done this before, Rowan. To other species. We're not the first." An alarm suddenly blared through the facility. "Intruder alert in Section E7, announced a mechanical voice. "Security teams respond immediately." "They've discovered us." Rowan grabbed Maya's arm. "We need to move. Now." They ran through the corridors, alarms wailing around them. Rowan fired his pulse rifle at the first Viridian security team they encountered, buying them precious seconds. They reached the hangar bay where small shuttles were kept. "Can you fly one of these?" Maya asked as they sprinted toward the nearest vessel. "Better than them," Rowan said, blasting the control panel to seal the hangar doors behind them. "Get in." The shuttle roared to life under Rowan's command. As Viridian security forces breached the hangar, the small craft shot out into the void of space, accelerating away from the lunar base. "They'll pursue us," Rowan said, plotting a course for Earth, "and they'll have ships waiting in orbit." Maya clutched her tablet, which contained the evidence of humanity's impending enslavement. "We have to warn everyone. The world needs to know what they really are." As they approached Earth, 3 Viridian vessels moved to intercept them. Rowan executed evasive maneuvers, pushing the small shuttle beyond its design limits. "Send the data now," he ordered. "Broadcast it to every channel you can access." Maya connected her tablet to the shuttle's communication array. sending to scientific networks, military channels, public broadcasts, everything. The shuttle shuddered as a Viridian energy weapon grazed their hull. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Did it transmit? Rowan asked, banking the shuttle hard to avoid another blast. Maya checked her tablet, then looked up with fierce determination. Yes. It's out there now. Everyone will know. Their shuttle began to descend toward Earth's atmosphere, pursued by Viridian ships. Rowan and Maya had revealed the truth, but the fight for humanity's future was just beginning. Resistance and retribution. The world erupted into chaos after Maya and Rowan's broadcast. Footage of humans in processing chambers and neural-controlled slaves working in Viridian facilities played on every screen globally. Initial disbelief quickly gave way to horror, then rage. The Viridians dropped their benevolent facade. Their ships took up strategic positions above major cities, and their ambassador issued an ultimatum: surrender or face extinction. They had done this 17 times before with other species, the ambassador explained coldly. Resistance was futile and would only result in unnecessary destruction. Maya and Rowan barely survived their return to Earth. Their shuttle, damaged by Viridian weapons fire, crash-landed in the Australian outback. Local military forces recovered them from the wreckage and transported them to an underground facility in the Blue Mountains, one of many hastily established resistance bases around the world. "You've caused quite a stir, Dr. Chen," said General Helena Santos, commander of Earth's Unified Defense Forces. "The Viridians have placed bounties on both your heads." "We had to expose them," Maya replied, still recovering from her injuries. "They were infiltrating our colonies, taking people for experimentation and slave labor. And now they're threatening to destroy our cities unless we submit," General Santos said grimly. "Their ships have weapons capabilities far beyond our defenses. We need an advantage, and quickly." Maya thought about the biological samples she had smuggled out in her personal effects. "I might be able to give you one," she said. "I need a lab." While Maya worked, Rowan helped coordinate planetary defenses. The Viridians had begun targeted strikes against military installations, knocking out communication networks and defense systems. Billions of people fled major cities, seeking refuge in rural areas and underground shelters. 2 weeks into what was now being called the Viridian War, Maya summoned Rowan and General Santos to her makeshift laboratory. "I found something," she said, pointing to microscope images on her screen. "The Viridians have a unique neurological structure. Their brain cells communicate using quantum entanglement. It's what gives them their heightened cognitive abilities and collective consciousness." "How does this help us?" General Santos asked. "Quantum entanglement is incredibly sensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies," Maya explained. "I've isolated a frequency that disrupts their neural communication. In theory, it would essentially paralyze them temporarily, shutting down their collective consciousness." Rowan leaned forward. "Can we weaponize this?" Maya nodded. "With the right equipment, we could create pulse emitters that broadcast this frequency. The challenge is getting close enough to their ships and facilities to use them." "Leave that to me," Rowan said. Over the next month, resistance engineers worked tirelessly to build Maya's pulse emitters. Simultaneously, Rowan assembled a team of elite soldiers and pilots from around the world, those who had evaded the Viridian attacks and were willing to undertake what might be a suicide mission. Among them was Captain Leilam Biki, Africa's top fighter pilot, Sergeant Takashi Ito, a Japanese Special Forces operative, Dr. Zara Patel, a brilliant engineer who had lost her family in a Viridian attack on Mumbai, and a dozen others, each bringing unique skills to the mission. "The plan is simple but dangerous," Rowan explained during the final briefing. "We use a captured Viridian shuttle to approach their command ship in Earth orbit. Dr. Patel has modified it to mask our human biosignatures. Once aboard, we split into 3 teams. Team Alpha plants pulse emitters throughout the ship. Team Beta secures the bridge to prevent any distress signals. Team Gamma downloads their complete database for intelligence on other enslaved species, and Viridian vulnerabilities. And if we're discovered before completing the mission? Asked Sergeant Ito. Then we detonate our backup plan, Rowan said, gesturing to Dr. Patel. She held up a device the size of a backpack. A quantum resonance bomb. It will amplify the neural disruption frequency across the entire ship. It's untested, but theoretically, it should incapacitate every Viridian on board instantly. General Santos addressed the team. You all understand the stakes. If you succeed, we gain control of their command ship and potentially the means to defeat their entire fleet. If you fail, we won't fail, Maya said firmly. She had insisted on joining the mission, despite Rowan's objections. Her knowledge of Viridian biology might prove crucial. The mission launched 3 days later under cover of a meteor shower to mask their approach. The stolen shuttle, piloted by Captain Bakey, slipped past the Viridian defense grid using countermeasures developed from Maya's research. Approaching docking bay, Mbeki reported, her voice steady despite the danger. No challenges so far. They think we're one of theirs. The shuttle docked without incident. Teams deployed according to plan, moving silently through the massive ship's corridors. Maya went with Team Gamma, headed for the central database. They encountered their first Viridian patrol 10 minutes in. The aliens moved with predatory grace, but Sergeant Ito's team dispatched them silently before they could raise an alarm. The humans moved on, planting pulse emitters at strategic junctions. In the database center, Maya and Dr. Patel worked feverishly to access the Viridian systems. Their security is complex, Patel whispered, fingers flying over the alien interface. But there are patterns, mathematical constants that transcend species differences. We need their slave processing protocols, Maya said, and any information on other species they conquered. Patel nodded, continuing her work. Finally, she smiled. I'm in. Downloading everything now. On the bridge, Team Beta had secured control but faced resistance. Multiple Viridian security teams converging on your positions, Rohan warned through their secure comm channel. We've been discovered. How long do you need for the download? Maya asked Patel. 3 more minutes. Maybe 4. Maya made a decision. Activate the pulse emitters now, she ordered. All of them. Across the ship, Team Alpha triggered the devices. A high-pitched whine, barely perceptible to human ears, filled the vessel. The effect on the Viridians was immediate and dramatic. Throughout the ship, they collapsed, their neural networks temporarily severed from their collective consciousness. It's working, Rowan reported. They're down. The download completed, and Team Gamma rejoined the others on the bridge. Maya studied the Viridian systems, then looked up with fierce determination. I can broadcast this frequency to their entire fleet from here. Their ships are quantum-linked. Do it, Rowan ordered. Maya configured the ship's communication array to transmit the disruptive frequency. Across Earth's orbit, Viridian vessels suddenly went dark, their crews incapacitated. We've done it, Maya whispered as they watched the sensor readings. Their entire fleet is disabled. But their victory was temporary. Already, some Viridians were beginning to recover, their neural systems adapting to the disruption. Phase 2, Rowan commanded. Using the command chip systems, they transmitted the stolen data to Earth's resistance forces. Complete schematics of Viridian technology, locations of slave processing centers, and most crucially, detailed information about the 17 other species the Viridians had conquered and enslaved across the galaxy. As the Viridians began to recover, the human team prepared to evacuate. But Maya stopped at the main console. Wait, there's something else we can do. She accessed the ship's navigation system. Their entire fleet is still linked to this command vessel. I can set a course that will take them far from Earth, back to their homeworld. Do we have time? Rowan asked, eyeing the stirring Viridians. Maya nodded. Just enough. And I'm sending a message with them. She typed rapidly, then stood back. It's done. The human team escaped in their shuttle as the Viridian fleet, still under the influence of the command ship's automated systems, began to move away from Earth. The message Maya had programmed would play continuously throughout their journey. Footage of human resistance, of slaves being freed, and a warning that humanity would not rest until all enslaved species were liberated. 6 months later, Earth had rebuilt much of what was destroyed. The remaining Viridian forces had been defeated using the neural disruption technology Maya had discovered. But humanity didn't stop there. Using Viridian ships and technology, Earth assembled a liberation fleet. Their mission: to free the 17 other species still under Viridian control across the galaxy. Rowan would command the military aspect of the mission, while Maya led a scientific team dedicated to helping the freed species recover from generations of enslavement. As the Liberation Fleet prepared to depart, General Santos addressed the assembled crews. What the Viridians never understood about humanity was this: we do not tolerate the enslavement of any sentient being. Where they saw only resources to exploit, we see potential allies. Where they saw only slaves, we see brothers and sisters in the struggle for freedom. Today, we carry that message to the stars. Maya stood beside Rowan on the bridge of the flagship, once a Viridian command vessel, now rechristened the Liberator. They thought they were the predators, and we were the prey, she said softly. They never imagined we would fight back, not just for ourselves, but for every species they enslaved. Rowan took her hand. That's the thing about humans, he replied, watching as the fleet prepared to enter faster than light travel. We're at our best when we're fighting for others. The Liberator led the way as humanity embarked on its first interstellar mission, not for conquest or exploration, but for liberation. The slavers had discovered too late that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they had ever encountered: humanity's unbreakable spirit and unquenchable thirst for justice. And across the galaxy, enslaved species looked to the stars with something they had long forgotten: hope. The end